welcome to Newswatch on this 28th day of October 2020. My name is Teresia Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Thank you for choosing Hope TV News. Top on our news making headlines tonight, Tanzania have today gone to the ballot for presidential and parliamentary elections as President John Magufuli seeks a second term. The elections, which started as early as 4 a.m., saw millions of voters queue up to cast their votes despite reports of restricted internet access as well as unrest in the semi-autonomous islands of Zanzibar a day leading to the elections.
Tanzanian President John Magufuli and his main opponent Tundu Lissu are battling it out in the Wednesday's hotly contested general elections. Magufuli, who is running under the ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi ticket, is seeking a second term as his closest challenger Tundu Lissu of opposition party Chadema seeks to oust him. Tanzania has experienced a heated campaigning season, and although the presidential candidates are 15 in total, it has majorly been seen as a battle between Magufuli and Tundu Lissu, who have both garnered huge crowds during the campaign period. Voting in the neighboring state comes against the backdrop of internet access restrictions, banned campaigns and limited media coverage in the country. Major social media networks such as WhatsApp and Twitter have been blocked across the country and were only accessible through virtual private networks. Just recently, Lissu's campaign was suspended for 7 days after being accused by the Electoral Commission of provoking citizens with his remarks. Lissu had allegedly said that Magufuli was planning to rig the elections, remarks that the commission refuted sternly. President Pombe Magufuli and opposition leader Tundu Lissu cast their votes, but Lissu in a Twitter post lamented that election rigging was already taking place, saying his agents were restricted from accessing polling stations. Observers expressed serious concerns about the fairness of the election in the run-up to the voting day, following violence that erupted in Zanzibar on the eve of the poll, leaving 10 dead, according to the opposition. Grace Wangoi, Hope TV Newswatch.
Two-horse race between President John Magufuli and his closest contender, Tundu Lissu, despite the presence of other 14 candidates. Patroba Ojwang brings us a profile of the two opponents.
Born in October 1959 in Chato District, John Pombe Magufuli is the 5th president of Tanzania after his election in 2015 and has been serving as the chairman of the Southern African Development Community SADC from the year 2019 to 2020. Magufuli was first elected as a member of parliament in 1995 before serving in the cabinet of Tanzania as Deputy Minister of Works from 1995 to 2000, Minister of Works from 2000 to 2006, Minister of Lands and Human Settlement from 2006 to 2008, Minister of Livestock and Fisheries from 2008 to 2010, and as Minister of Works for a second time from 2010 to 2015. It is then that he ran for presidency through CCM, the ruling party in Tanzania, and was sworn in on 5th November 2015. Born in January 1968 in Ikungi District, Singida, Tundu Antipas Mugwai Lissu is a lawyer and a presidential candidate in the October 28 presidential election. He was a member of parliament for Singida East constituency since 2010. On September 7, 2017, during a parliamentary session break, Tundu Lissu, while in his car, was shot multiple times and seriously injured by unknown assailants in the parking lot of his parliamentary residence in Dodoma, a move that saw him go in exile in Kenya and Belgium for treatment. Lissu returned to Tanzania from exile to contest in the Tanzanian general elections before being chosen as Chadema's presidential candidate to challenge Magufuli. He is seen as Magufuli's closest challenger. Patroba Ojwang, Hope TV Newswatch.
And in the country, President Uhuru Kenyatta has convened the 6th extraordinary session of the National and County Governments Coordinating Summit to review the resurgence of COVID-19 infections in the country. State House spokesperson Kanze Dena, in a statement to newsrooms, said the summit will be held on Wednesday next week with concerns over the rising COVID-19 numbers. The session will consider the evolution of the disease as well as the epidemiological models on how COVID-19 may propagate within the country over the months of November and December 2020. The session will also review the effectiveness of the containment measures in place, as well as the impact of the easing of the restrictions that were in place. Joint health unions and societies have declared a countrywide health workers' strike effective midnight, affecting all public health facilities. The unions say the government has failed to address grievances raised, including demand for promotions and redesignation, despite several strike ultimatums issued to the employer ever since the outbreak of coronavirus in May this year. And as Dickens Luvanda reports, the strike will greatly affect the fight against COVID-19.
The country is likely to record high cases of COVID-19 without a trace and a rise in other ailments after health workers working in various cadres declared a national strike effective midnight.
Solidarity forever.
Health unions, including the Kenya National Union of Nurses, Kenya Health Professional Society, Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, and the Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Technologists, among others, have accused the Ministry of Health of failing to abide by their promotion and work redesignation agreements for the past 15 years.
It's clear that they don't care whether Kenyans suffer withdrawal of services or not. It's demoralizing that the ministry has over the years promised to effect promotions for the undersigned affected cadres, only to backtrack later and employ delay tactics that have seen officers stagnate in one job group over 15 years.
Union officials addressed the press in Nairobi, where they said health services issued by health workers in all government hospitals, including the National Blood Bank and the Spinal Cord Injury Hospital, and ports of entries including JKIA, Mombasa ports and border entry points will no longer be available starting Thursday, October 29th.
The services are going to cease because all our members will be downing their tools. We are going on strike. I want to thank the people who, with their wisdom, had a vision that there will come a time in future when the government will decide that granting the rights that have been granted by the Constitution is optional. And that is why they included Article 41 of the Constitution that allows us to go on strike if we feel that our rights have been contravened.
In May this year, during the outbreak of COVID-19, health workers issued a 21-day strike notice to the government following its failure to meet their demands on safety at workplaces, a strike that was suspended after deliberations with the employer in an effort to curb the spread of COVID-19. The health workers accused the government of compelling health workers to work in affected facilities, despite reported cases of their colleagues getting infected.
From May, we have called strike. We have pulled off the strike. Nothing happens. Even as we protest, even physically and even through letters, ni kama tunaongea na mawe.
Tumeamua, nataka kuambia wana mahabara wote popote walipo, kuanzia leo saa 6 hakuna kufanya kazi yoyote ya COVID. Hakuna kwenda kazini. We are stopping to work mpaka siku ile ambayo tutapewa karatasi zetu za promotion na redesignation.
Aside from other health ailments, the strike by clinical officers, nurses, laboratory technologists, among other health cadres, will also affect health services of COVID-19 patients, including screening of new patients countrywide.
Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Wilson Airport, Eldoret Airport, Isiolo Airport, all the border points, all the ports of entry, all the seaports, we are going to withdraw our services. There will be no corona screening in these ports of entry after midnight today.
If government fails to find a way out to end the looming health workers' strike effective midnight, then the efforts made in the fight against COVID-19, especially in public health facilities, will go to waste. Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV News Watch in Nairobi County.
A total of 1,018 people have tested positive for COVID-19 from a sample size of 6,649 tested in the last 24 hours, bringing to 51,851 the total number of confirmed COVID-19 infections in the country. From the cases, 989 are Kenyans and 29 are foreigners. 657 are males and 360 female, while the youngest is a 9-year-old infant. The oldest is 96 years. A statement from the Ministry of Health said 426 patients recovered from the disease, 312 from the home-based care program, while 114 were discharged from various hospitals, taking the total recoveries to 35,258. 16 patients have, however, succumbed to the disease, bringing the total fatality to 950. And a magistrate court in Nairobi has sentenced quack Dr. James Mugo, popularly known as Mugo wa Wairimo, to 3 years in jail if he fails to pay a 1.4 million Kenya shillings fine. Senior resident magistrate Martha Nanzuki found him guilty of unlawfully opening a pharmacy business without a license from the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. The fake doctor hit headlines in 2018 for operating a medical laboratory without registration and licensed by the Kenya Medical Laboratory Practitioners and operating an unregistered medical clinic. He later returned to the headlines a few years later when he was charged for allegedly sedating and raping his patients at another unlicensed clinic in Githurai 44 and masquerading as a gynecologist. And Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, his counterpart Salim Mvurya of Kwale and Kivutha Kibwana of Makueni have been ranked as the best top 3 performing county chiefs by a poll conducted by Infotrack. The findings released by the firm's chief executive officer Angela Ambitho on Wednesday also ranked Kakamega as the best performing county in the country in the delivery of services to its residents, followed by Kwale, and Makueni County came in 3rd position. Alice Diana has more details to this story.
The latest survey report released by Infotrack Research Company, which sought to determine how governors have implemented devolved functions, has seen Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, who also doubles up as the Council of Governors chairman, ranked as the best performing county boss with a score of 82.3%. Oparanya was followed by Kwale Governor Salim Mvurya, who scored 77.1%. Kivutha Kibwana of Makueni came 3rd with 74.4%. Kisumu County's Governor Anyang' Nyong'o and Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua came in the 4th and 5th position respectively with a score of 65.9% and 65.1%. The survey majorly targeted provision of services for devolved functions such as agriculture, health, education, water management, social services, environment and natural resources, amongst others. Other governors who appeared in the list of the top 10 performing governors are West Pokot's John Lonyangapuo at 64.2%, Uasin Gishu's Jackson Mandago at 63.5%, Tharaka Nithi Muthomi Njuki at 62.6%, Turkana's Josephat Nanok at 62.5%, and Bomet's Hilary Barchok at 60.6%.
Amongst the first-term governors, The top 5 performing first-term governors are the governor for Kisumu, Professor Nyong'o, governor for at 65.9. The second, first-term governor is West Pokot, followed by the governor for Tharaka Nithi. Number 4 was Bomet governor. Number 5 was Vihiga. If we look at second-term governors, of course, number 1 is Wycliffe Oparanya, who scored 82.3. Then Mvurya, who scored 70. At number 2, he's Kwale governor. He scored 77.1. Number 3 was Makueni governor, which is Kivuta Kibwana, who scored 74.4. Number 4 was Machakos governor, Alfred Mutua. Number 5 was Uasin governor, Jackson Mandago.
In terms of county development, Kakamega came first at 57.2%, followed by Kwale at 54.8%. Makueni came at the third position at 54.7%, followed by Kisumu at 53.4%, while Uasin Gishu was the 5th best performing county at 53.1%. West Pokot came at the 6th position with 52.7%, and Elgeyo Marakwet was the 7th at 51.2%. Bungoma, Machakos, and Kericho closed the list of the top 10 performing counties in the country, with each scoring 51.1%, 50.6%, and 50.6% respectively.
Significant improvements were also seen in Nairobi in this particular index. So we see Nairobi at 48.5. Their overall ranking was number 20 in the overall index for this period.
The County Track Index, which was conducted between October to December 2019 and January 2020, saw 37,600 people interviewed across the 47 counties. Last month, members of the National Assembly accused the research firm Infotrack for skewed ranking in their survey post on the performance of members of parliament that was released on the 27th of that month. Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Alice Diana.
And let's take our first commercial break. We will be back shortly with more news. Keep it Hope TV.
Wiki hii kwenye Yesu ndiye njia.
Tutakuwa na mgeni spesheli ambaye hatujawahi muona hapa wakati mwingine.
Je, ninachokivaa kinajalisha? Mungu si yuangalia roho, si mavazi.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Naitwa Kisha Mwandawiro. Jiunge nasi Jumamosi hii kuanzia saa 2 jioni mpaka saa 4 tunapolitatua mada hili tatanishi la mavazi. Karibuni sana.
Welcome to Rafiki Gardens along Kangundo Road by Optiven. This is an ideal and affordable piece of investment that is strategically placed within the Nairobi metropolis. Rafiki Gardens is close to key social amenities like schools, banks, and shopping malls. This project comes with ready title deeds, Maram roads, and a marking fence round the property. Get a plot at only 695,000 Kenya shillings cash price. You can also pay a 50% deposit and pay the rest in 6 months installments. Call us today on 0702 8310 83 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Welcome back. Kakamega County headquarters has been closed for 7 days after 57 healthcare workers tested positive for COVID-19. Governor Wycliffe Oparanya said all county government workers will now have to undergo a mandatory COVID-19 test, even as the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the country rose to 316 infections. 155 of them are still in isolation as 7 succumbed to the disease. Oparanya addressed the press at the county government headquarters, where he also raised concerns over the rising cases of coronavirus in the country.
Some of our staff here we have been found with COVID, and we have now agreed that all staff at the headquarters here and all other staff should be tested. And because we have a higher number of headquarters staff here affected, we have agreed to close down the headquarters here for 7 days. We will only have essential services staff here who will be able to respond to emergencies, especially the finance staff.
In a bid to tie down the rising cases of road carnage in the country, the government, through the Ministry of Interior and Coordination in partnership with the European Union, has launched a road safety program dubbed Usalama Barabarani. The Safe Roads program under the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, aims to enhance traffic safety via projects that will lead to reduced fatalities. Mark Kimondo tells us more.
A latest report by the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, revealed that a total of 2,689 people lost their lives to road accidents between January and September this year, compared to 2,655 last year between the same period. It is in this backdrop that the Ministry of Interior, in partnership with NTSA and the European Union, have launched the Usalama Barabarani program, a project whose main aim is to enhance road safety in the country by curbing the rising cases of road carnage. The program will be implemented along the northern corridor, targeting 6 counties of Kisumu, Nakuru, Kericho, Makueni, Kakamega, and Nairobi, which have recorded a high number of accidents in the past few years, according to Cabinet Secretary for Internal Security, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who was present during the launch of the program in Nairobi.
Obviously, the choice of the corridor that has been made by NTSA as the point of focus, this is one of our most dangerous corridors. Let us tell each other the truth. When we look at fatalities...
The 3 years initiative will be backed by the European Union through the support of Kenya energy and transport sectors. It will, however, cost 5.37 million euros.
In January, we were given a target by the chief guest, and he stated us on 10 points. And out of the 10 points in his target for this financial year, 4 of them were related to NTSA.
According to the EU Deputy Head of Delegation to Kenya, Catherine Hedgeman, the program also focuses on improving driver training and raising awareness on road safety among members of the public.
We know that many of the persons affected by road fatalities are the breadwinners in their families, and thus the tragedy of a single death is often compounded by the resulting sufferings of the entire family and the dependents.
CS Matiang'i also announced that revalidation of driving schools will be completed by January 1st, 2021, adding that the government will set aside resources into training border operators on responsible road use to complement the Usalama Barabarani program that was launched today. Different authorities have been raising concerns over a spike in road carnage that have been witnessed since the government relaxed COVID-19 measures. The CES has called on drivers to maintain discipline while driving to reduce cases of road carnage.
Police can do so much, but the greater percentage of that contribution is going to be made through our reformed behavior.
Nationwide sensitization and training will target majorly pedestrians, border operators, and the youth whom statistics show make up a large percentage of casualties. The economic loss due to traffic crashes in Kenya is estimated at about 5% of the GDP every year. This translates into an annual loss of about 310 billion shillings. Mark Kimondo for Hope TV, Nairobi.
Kitui Women Representative has opposed a proposal in the Building Bridges Initiative report, which proposes the scrapping of the women representative position so as to expand the Senate. According to Dr. Irene Kasalu, incorporating the seat into the Senate will spell doom on the national government Affirmative Action Fund that has enabled thousands of vulnerable women, youth, girls, orphans, and people living with disability across the nation to access education. She spoke at Muslim Secondary School grounds in Kitui Town during an event to mentor school-going girls on the effect of teen pregnancies, saying scrapping of the women representative post will jeopardize women empowerment.
Our was to do what I'm doing here today. To talk to our girls, to talk to our women, to talk to our young boys. But now, we are in a constitutional moment where we are saying that we want to take, or even scrap the seat of the women rep and have 2 senators, a female and a male. And we welcome these changes. And in fact, as a women of this country, we are ready to support this process of having a new constitution. But what we are saying is that as we go to the Senate, we had the National Government Affirmative Fund, National Government Affirmative Fund, GAF, which we did a lot of work. It is through that fund I'm able to have these girls here today. It's through that fund that I'm able to have these girls today, to mentor them, to talk to them, and they're able to have a role model to look up to. So we are talking, we beseech our leaders, even as we engage in conversations, this proposed, or this BBI is not cast on a stone. I know that you're able to have amendments, and some of them we want that even as the 47 women that go to the Senate, that we are able to have funds that enable us to work for these girls.
A section of MCAs in Machakos County have called on the government to organize for a national dialogue before Kenyans head to the ballot for a referendum in support of the report. The county lawmakers said there are various issues in the BBI which should be amended if it is to be passed.
Tuhakikishe ya kwamba kama viongozi tumejihusisha sana kwa national dialogue. Ni vizuri sana kabla tujitokeze kwa wananchi tuonekane ya kwamba tunaongea lugha moja, tumeketi kama viongozi, tumeelimishwa, tumejielimisha, tumeelimishana, alafu kila mtu awe anaweza toa maoni yake. Tuhakikishe ya kwamba hata kama tutaongea kwa sauti moja 100%, lakini kimawazo tumekaribiana.
Turuhusu mwananchi ajisomee na aelewe yale mambo yamezungumziwa na hii report, kwa sababu tukiingilia sisi kama wanasiasa tutawaelekeza raia kwa ile njia sisi tunaona inatufaa, lakini cha muhimu ni kwanza tuwakubalie wajisomee, ama watafutiwe wale watu wanaelewa maneno ya hii BBI, wawatafsirie, wawaelimishe, tufanye civic education, ndio baadaye raia akishaelewa yale mambo yamezungumziwa na hii ripoti wafikie kufanya uamuzi wao wenyewe, na wakishafanya uamuzi wao wenyewe, kama kuna mahali tunahitajika kurekebisha turekebishe.
Kila maoni ya kila kiongozi itiliwe maanani, ndio tuweze kukua ama kutengeneza katiba yenye imezingatia maadili ya kila jamii ya Kenya.
During the process of coming up with the BBI, walemavu haukuhusishwa sana. We did a lot of memorandums to the committee and the task force to make sure that they include our concerns to the report. But kile wamefanya ni kama hizo hawakuweka. They did not of course take into account our concerns, and we feel that we have been left behind.
The county government of Kilifi says it will from Thursday pause operations following a spike of COVID-19 among county officials. While announcing the measures this afternoon, Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi said 6 officers from the county tested positive for COVID-19. The governor has warned that starting next week, only officers offering critical services will be allowed to their workstations.
Wa serikali ya kaunti ya Kilifi, mbali na wale wafanyikazi wa idara ya afya 24 ambao wamepatikana na virusi hivi. Singependa kuwataja majina ama kuambia ni wapi ama ni wapi, lakini nataka niwahakikishie kwamba tuna visa 6 vya afisazi wafanyikazi wa serikali ya kaunti ya Kilifi ambao wamepata virusi hivi, na ndiposa we are trying to scale down on government operations. Tunafanya hivyo kwa sababu tunataka kulinda wafanyikazi, pili kulinda umma wale ambao wanakuja kutafuta huduma mbalimbali katika serikali yetu. Kuna sehemu zingine hapa katika kaunti ya Kilifi kwamba katika awamu ya kwanza ama wazungu wanaita ile first wave, kulikuwa na visa vichache sana. Kwanza ni truck drivers ambao wanatoka nje na kuingia, kama ujuavyo, ukanda wa kuvuna chumvi unapatikana katika sehemu ya Magarini. Kwa hivyo lori nyingi za kutoka mbali zinapita kote huko, mwishowe zinaenda pale Magarini, na wakati wanangoja lori zao zipate shehena ama zijaze shehena, wanatangamana na wananchi.
And the youthful population in the country has been encouraged to utilize affirmative action funds for development purposes. ICT Innovation and Youth CAS Nadia Ahmed wants the youth to utilize opportunities availed by the government through various funds to develop themselves. She said the government has rolled out several initiatives tailored specifically for the youth, citing the Youth Enterprise Fund, Women Enterprise Fund, Uwezo Fund and 30% tender rule meant for youths, women and the people living with disability in government procurements. The CAS was speaking at a local youth forum at the Youth Empowerment Center in Ruriungu, Nyeri County, where she warned the youth against involvement in drugs and substance abuse.
Being addict, but most thing I can say is sobriety comes with a price. And if there are no jobs opportunity, and the way I can see, now the government have started stepping up. Because most of the people, they are going into drugs because they have nothing to do at home. They are saying, what next?
Our motto is to ensure that young people have money in their pockets. See, tutawapea handouts? No. We will link you to government opportunities, which will now enable you to be fishermen instead of watu wa kupokea handout.
You have this, you go, you apply for the fund, you're a woman, so you can do youth enterprise. Tuseme ukenda hapa ukachukua 50k, ukenda women fund ukachukua 50k, ushaelewa? Ukenda Uwezo ukachukua 50k, hiyo ni 150, and I promise you my sister, with 150 you can start a small business to even be a brand ambassador, as long as unajua kuji brand. Any opportunity that comes, take it. Don't have that attitude of interest yako iko hapo. Hizo funds zote ndo waambia. Me, what I'm trying to tell you is change your mind. Saa nyingine opportunity ujui zinakuja vipi.
Mihadarati inatokea maeneo za Moyale, Marsabit, Isiolo, ikipitia pamoja na Nanyuki kuja hapa Nyeri. Kwa hivyo vijana wengi wana uraibu wa madawa za kulevya. So tukasema ni vizuri kwamba tueleze kwamba haupo peke yako. Serikali yepo inakujali, serikali imeweka miradi za kuweza kukusaidia ili kwamba uweze kujitoa katika ile shimo ya uraibu ya madawa za kulevya.
Let's take another commercial break. We'll be back with international news.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen.
Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga, imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu Jesus.
I got tired of working with the x-ray papers, and one day I just woke up and decided to burn them.
A test into a testimony.
The whole community didn't want to hear that anybody is born again. Excommunicated straight.
Bila Yesu hakuna njia.
Join Sharon Naitore Wangenye on Testify.
Katika hiyo harakati hiyo spirit ikakemewa, mimi nimeona Yesu Kristo namna hii. Kwa msalaba. Opa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m. for a moment to grow your faith some more.
Welcome back. Thank you for keeping it Hope TV News. A judicial panel in Nigeria has begun hearing and investigating claims of police brutality and the shooting of protesters in Lagos following protests that rocked the West African nation in 20 years. The independent investigations are a big win to the protesters who successfully demanded the end of police brutality by a special police team dubbed Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, which was disbanded due to the protests. At least 13 states have established judicial panels. And residents of Ivory Coast capital Abidjan are sending relatives to hinterland villages and stocking up on provisions such as food and gas days before contentious presidential elections on Saturday. Ivorians are in fear of an eruption of violence similar to the last presidential elections that led to the loss of 3,000 lives ahead of the Saturday, October 31st general elections. The West African country has been experiencing a lot of tension due to protests that have been ongoing against incumbent President Alassane Ouattara, who decided to run for the third term after his closest successor, Prime Minister Amadou Gon, unexpectedly died in July. His opponents, however, say Ouattara's re-election bid is unconstitutional. At least 20 people have reportedly been killed in intercommunal clashes and violent confrontations between Ivorian security forces and opposition protesters. And Typhoon Molev has landed in Vietnam with strong winds and heavy rainfall that could lead to flooding and landslides after a similar situation was witnessed in the Philippines a few days ago. The country has already made plans to evacuate nearly 1.3 million people along the central coast, with hundreds of flights grounded and schools closed as Molev churned over the South China Sea, destroying property. This is the fourth storm to strike the central region in October after past storms caused floods and landslides and killed 130 people, with many others still missing. And we take another short break. We'll be back with business news.
De Beneficiis Messiah. That's the nickname of Psalm 117 when the author says, "Praise the Lord and laud him." Why should we praise the Lord? The Jewish doctors tell us that that chapter was written to be a benefit of the Christos and the coming Mashiach. And indeed, Paul referred to Jesus in 1 Timothy 6:2 as the benefit. John 4:10 refers to Jesus as the gift of God. Haggai refers to Jesus, the coming Messiah, as the desire of all nations. And Luke 2 refers to Jesus as being great tidings of joy to all people. So too, I want to encourage you that the Christ dimension can live through you so that you no longer live, but now you have the gift, the benefit, the desire of all nations, and the glad tidings of great joy manifested through you when you simply put your faith and trust in the Father who sent his Son to image him to the world. By faith, the Christ dimension will be manifested through you too.
There's a greater demand for high-quality logistics warehouses in the mushrooming East African urban environment. This comes even as integrated property and logistics investment company Africa Logistic Properties on Wednesday launched a $6 million warehousing facility at Tilisi Logistics Park in Limuru, Kiambu County, targeting small businesses seeking modern storage facilities. Betty Minor, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, who graced the event, said that COVID-19 has seen a general rise in demand for modern warehouse facilities. And Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS, has warned that trading outlets, especially supermarkets involved in illegal repackaging of food products such as sugar, rice and cooking fat without a standardization mark permit, risk seizure of their stock and prosecution in a court of law. KEBS boss Bernard Njiraini has noted that many of the outlets have continued to contravene the standards of Act Cap 496 laws of Kenya repackaging products without diamond mark of quality. KEBS has insisted that the repackaged contents must have the name of the product, list of ingredients, net content, name and address of manufacturer, country of origin, date marking, and instructions for use and storage conditions. President Uhuru Kenyatta has once again commended the Kenya Defence Force for partnering with other public entities in the delivery of key services. The president said the military's contribution to national progress through the multi-agency arrangement had demonstrated KDF's commitment and loyalty to the nation. The head of state spoke at Lang'ata Barracks in Nairobi County, where he joined KDF soldiers and their families in launching the construction of the Ulinzi Sports Complex and the inauguration of the Defence Forces Wellness Center. And the UEFA Champions League second round group stage matches were played last night and continue tonight in various pitches across Europe. In France, Manchester City were barely troubled as they claimed their second victory in Champions League Group C by beating Marseille 3-0 at the Stade Velodrome. That and more in our sports roundup with Joseph Maingi.
Ferran Torres, Ilkay Gundogan and Raheem Sterling found the back of the net as Pep Guardiola's side stayed top of the standing on 6 points ahead of Porto and Olympiacos. Marseille, on their side, are now bottom of the table with 0 points after 10 consecutive losses in the competition since 2 defeats in the quarterfinals against Bayern Munich in 2012 after 6 defeats in the group stages in the 2013-2014 season in their last appearance. Elsewhere, Real Madrid scored 2 goals in the final minutes with Karim Benzema and Casemiro to rescue a 2-2 draw against Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Champions League Group B match to snap a 3-game losing run in the competition. Elsewhere, England side Liverpool labored to a 2-0 win over Denmark side Midtjylland on Tuesday as goals from Diogo Jota and Mo Salah's penalty secured a hard-fought Champions League Group D victory at Anfield. The win came at a cost, however, as Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp suffered another defensive blow with Brazilian Fabinho leaping off in the first half with what appeared to have been a hamstring injury. In Spain, João Felix bagged a brace for Atletico Madrid as they survived a scare to complete a 3-2 Champions League Group A victory over Red Bull Salzburg. In Italy, striker Duvan Zapata scored twice in 6 minutes to drag Atalanta back from a 2-goal deficit and ensure a 2-2 draw with Ajax of Amsterdam in the Champions League Group D clash. The fixture continues tonight with English side Chelsea, who are in Russia to face Krasnodar to try and to go top of Group E, as Rennes are away in Spain to face Sevilla. France champions Paris Saint-Germain are away in Istanbul to face off with Istanbul Başakşehir to try and get back to their winning run in the campaign after they lost to Manchester United last week. On their part, United are at home to play Red Bull Leipzig, who are top in Group H after beating the Turkish side. Elsewhere, Italian giant Juventus are at home without Cristiano Ronaldo, who tested twice positive for COVID-19 as they welcome Barcelona. And finally, German side Borussia Dortmund are at home to play Zenit St. Petersburg as they try to go back to winning spirit in Group F as leaders Lazio are away in Belgium to play Club Brugge. Well, that's your sport. Have a blessed evening. I'm Joseph Maingi.
We have come to the end of Newswatch tonight. Thank you for staying with us to the very end. I am Teresia Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. God bless you and have a good night.